Nick, come back!
What the hell was that? Okay, wait. I want everybody to know that we just started with this.
Yes.
And the idea of a 60-second countdown is not great.
Well, that's more of a stream countdown, so I can hurry up and put it to the places where it needs to be. So we have viewers. Yeah, so there's a little bit more to that. But just,
viewers.
Yes.
Okay, so hey, what are we doing here, huh?
We got a bunch of future folk.
Do we? Future folk. Future folk, you say. Well, as a matter of fact, I would like to welcome future folk in and let them introduce themselves. Beans is I'm not good with names, and future folk is as good as I'm going to get.
Awesome. Well, I'm Nils. I play General Trias in the movie The History of Future Folk.
And I'm Jeremy, the director, co-director, and producer of the movie.
And I'm John. I'm the writer and co-director.
Well, there we go. Everybody's here. First of all, I have to say that I am totally a fan of your movie. And it's not only that, I'm a total fan of the vibe. I like the whole... the fact that you guys are coming from a different place. It amuses me greatly. I mentioned this earlier, is that, you guys all strongly seem to be coming from the Dr. Demento school of music and chattering, and I severely love it. Severely.
Thank you.
And also, I've spent the day listening to future folk songs, and they're so great. I am totally up on Hondo.
Nice.
Hondo.
And the Worms. I think you know what, when I heard the song of the Worms, I put my head like this. Oh, those poor guys. They're missing their worms, And so tell me where did, and I'm not going to use the stupid inspiration thing. What I'd like to know is what
We got another one.
Oh my God!
Alien in the room. Hello, boys.
What size was the pan that hit you guys in the head that created this?
About a quarter of an ounce.
Yeah. Boom. Wow. Wait. Hondo.
Well, no, so the interesting thing about Future Folk is that this was not meant to be a long-term project. Originally, this was an idea that was born for one show, and we made just enough material to do like a 20-minute set in a comedy show. I think we had 2 songs, and then the rest was just improv. And so we made these costumes out of buckets and like sweatsuits. It was very low rent, and people just really reacted well to it, and we had a lot of fun in that world and inhabiting those characters. And it just kind of seemed like there was something was working, and so that led to a second show, which led to a third, and so on and so forth. And now Jay and I were just texting yesterday. It's been 17 years since we played that show.
Really?
So it's been a long,
That's crazy.
trip since then. But certainly if someone had told any of us, I think at that point, that this was going to be something that we were talking about on a podcast in 17 years, number one, we'd say, what's a podcast?
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't even exist.
We would have asked which pan they got hit with in the head with.
Exactly. It's great. You have to know how rare it is that I accidentally pull up a movie and just start watching
time.
And I'm watching it with my wife and going, my God, where's my fucking phone? I have to see if I can find these motherfuckers.
This is one of the
Here we are.
where Mick watches a movie and he calls me. It's a really strange time, and he's like, "Have you seen this?
Have you
I'm like,
seen this?
No. How do we get a hold of these guys?
How do I get home?
Frantic Googling.
Frantic.
It's just
Yeah. All you have to do is you take a quarter and you throw it into a lake and you make a wish.
That's well. Wait.
And you got your message.
Hey,
And boom, spaceship.
I'm from the '80s, and that's how we used to do it.
Yeah.
Don't mock the quarter, man.
I wasn't mocking. It worked. We're all here.
Yeah, you're all here.
Almost didn't work today, but in the end, it worked out.
No,
They only used a dime for me. That's why I was a little late.
Yeah, there you go. I love the bucket idea. I because on our planet we don't have buckets.
well, if you notice, all the buckets from our planet has tape around the edges, and all the buckets from their planets don't.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
True.
So
there's a mass quality of bucket drop off there. It's.
Can I ask stupid questions? Like how long? How many times have you guys been on stage as Future Folk?
Oh my! I no idea. Impossible.
No
to
idea.
count.
I would say 50, something like that.
What? Yeah,
No way more than that, don't you think? Over all these years?
Well, yeah. I mean,
You know, the tour and everything after the movie?
Yeah, the tour was what, 12 alone?
Yeah,
Yep, we did a U.S. tour with 12 different cities, and that was a trip just because we'd never really played out of New York more than once or twice, and we would roll into these places like St. Louis, which I had never even stepped foot in. We would drive up to the venue, and there'd be a line around the show of everybody dressed up like
the buckets.
Yeah.
Totally.
And here's the embarrassing thing. Their costumes are way better than ours. Much more branded. If you guys could have seen us, 17 years ago. It was like a joke. You actually spent some good time on your costumes. We kind of threw ours together originally.
It's been a fun and long road. I mean, a lot of us go back 20, 25 years as just friendship from school in New York. And John and I, knew these guys first as friends, but also as fans of the act. And then over the years, it would kind of, have its fits and starts, and there would be a show and then a couple months and another show. And then even when we made the movie, which is going on 10 years ago, that was 6 or 7 years into these various, pub gigs that they would play around the city.
Right.
And it kind of born out of this idea of like, let's just go do something, let's gather all of our friends. And it was just like this spirit of creativity. We had, virtually $0 to go do this thing, shot it in our house, called all our friends and kind of, scotch taped a movie together, basically.
Well, and when things got better, did you guys all upgrade your buckets?
Yeah, well, the upgrade for the buckets happened with the movie, and now those movie buckets need some upgrading again.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've been using them to play gigs.
The spacesuits are starting to get a little worn. They were very nice and fancy and made by proper costume designers and the whole thing. But we really put them to the test.
By worn, do you mean tight?
Yeah. That's touring that does that. I hear.
Tight and also a little smelly.
Yeah.
Ooh. The real question is, how are the boots? Are the boots alive?
The boots are alive, but they're definitely in the saddest shape of any.
By the end of the shoot, it was duct tape, just barely holding them together.
That's still the only thing holding them together at this point.
Yeah.
I also want to ask, and I know that this is horrible, but
we prefer horrible. Go for it.
Aside from this, aside from that, what are your covers? I mean, what do you do other than play with a bucket on your heads?
Like you mean cover songs that we've played?
No.
Like,
Actual
what's your
in
secret
life.
identity as a human?
What are
as
your
an
secret?
Earthling?
Yes. What are you?
Are you
our
implying
Earth
that there's
covers,
no
I
way
get
anybody
it.
could eke out a living in this fashion?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure that we're all ready for a purely bucket economy here.
Well, I'm
A lot of money in the space alien game.
I'm living off the royalties from the album.
Show me the coin. Show me the coin.
Jay, you go first.
I'm an actor in real life, in regular life. I've done a little bit of everything. I've done Broadway shows as an actor, and a bunch of TV and commercial work and voiceover, all sorts of crap. Now, and I'm in the entertainment biz for many years now.
Actors, am I right?
Yeah.
Pains in the ass. You know the way. Yeah, I've been a production designer and an effects designer my whole life, and you know what my definition of an actor is? Is that thing that keeps moving that thing that keeps moving in the way of everything that I did.
They keep mucking up all the beautiful work you've done.
God damn it! That beautiful set in his head is just right there.
Well, you should try working with bucket heads. It takes up the whole screen. There basically is no production design. I mean, it's just
but you know what? It's at least that's right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm not 100% sure if I've ever done anything as iconic as a bucket.
I don't know if that's true. You've got quite a resume.
Yeah. Things that are pretty cool. Come on.
Well, yeah, back in the old days, back in the days where we really had to fucking do it. Yeah. But you know what? That's great. Is because you guys did it too. Yep. I really have to appreciate people who actually can get through a film, and actually you did 90, 95, 99% of it, was actually there, and kind of you kind of rode around doing too many opticals, I noticed,
That was the great gift that John Mitchell gave us, which was a lot of off-screen action. All of space is off-screen in this film.
Well, yeah, but that's what it should be.
Well, and to extrapolate,
we also had a time travel. Oh, sorry, no. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, really? So
the original story.
So have you been back? If you've been back to the 80s, did you see my keys anywhere?
I got them back here.
They're in your Pontiac Fiero. They're under the sun visor of your Pontiac Fiero. But I want to extrapolate on that a little bit, because I think that there's two sort of lightning in a bottle things that are happening at the same time here. One is the weird just stuff about Future Folk that, like, we just found this thing that worked, that shouldn't work on paper and worked, and people liked it. But then there's also John and Jeremy, who were able to sort of capture this sort of wild and capricious thing that we didn't have a roadmap for. And we're able to
shape it,
and to make it a thing that everybody likes. And I think that maybe our stage show was a little sillier, and it was a little more tongue in cheek. And what they were able to do was to keep all the good parts of the stuff that was in our act, but also bring in a lot of those real emotional and relationships, and the other side of that whole story, which is, I think, why that movie has done so well, is because people can really relate to it on a human level. That's less what we were concerned about in our stage show. We just wanted to make people laugh. So the fact that these two were able to craft, to shape our story into a way that was appealing to so many people is kind of a miracle in and of itself. And so
they infused it with a lot of heart.
Right. Yeah. And you know what? I have to tell you, one of the things that you did absolutely right, and that it was the songs, especially the first couple of songs that we come into are so clear. The thing that's great about them is that they were clear and totally accessible and right there. And they were telling you a story that it was like one of the great theme, like it was like the theme song in a musical, which I hate musicals. I mean, I hate musicals. But the thing is what a musical does is it takes their first song in a musical is the explainer, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I mean, this is actually a formula that goes way back. The first song is the one that it explains where you're at and the way that it is written, it is always the one that you're going to remember because it's the one that's super, I want to say simple in a way, but you picked it perfect.
Yeah.
The sandworm. I can't tell if the sandworm was the second or the first, but
Space Worms was first one was Impossible Dream, and that's
right. Impossible Dream, right?
You're sort of missing all the weird little details of Hondo, like the magic sponges and the sulfur pits of doom.
Exactly, the magic sponges. And the thing is that it was clear. It was absolutely clear. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh. It was the whole backstory was right there. It was so well done that way. I really appreciated that because I appreciate
His internet's fine. He just froze in real life. That was one. The Impossible Dream and Space Worms were both songs that were in our repertoire before the movie, and we just kind of all worked together to think about which of our existing songs worked best for the movie. A lot of them didn't make it into the movie, but are on the album and so on. But we also then looked at the story and said, okay, where are sort of the emotional beats that don't have musical moments?
Right.
And that was those were the other two songs that were featured. The pump up, we can do anything. I always kind of thought of it when I was writing it as the Eye of the Tiger,
right?
The universe within. It's like the training montage song.
Because really, what the world needs is Eye of the Tiger with a banjo.
You're welcome,
right? Come on.
I'm with you. I'm simpatico. And then, of course, the love interest payoff song, which was Over the Moon, which
right.
I also wrote for the movie, but a lot of those things were already there, and John and Jeremy were just really clever at sort of knowing where to deploy those things that were sort of already in our mythology as a way to support this larger story.
The other thing that was kind of interesting about it was that there was a huge amount of niceness shown, which is when your enemy is there. Right. And you're very, very soon you invite your enemy to come on up and you're trying to save him from himself and save your planet all at the same time. And because I mean, what would have been a great scientific trope is if you just had gone out and shot him. And
Han Solo Greedo style.
I was going to say, what wouldn't be more 2020 than that? we would have at this point we would have gone. Oh yeah, well that figures.
I mean the message I think is that music, music trumps hate.
Yeah, there you go. Don't be careful using that word.
Yeah.
So
music is very controversial.
I also appreciated that there was and this is from a guy who's a music nerd, that no drums even on the album, but
who needs them?
But the great thing about it, and I don't 100% know if you're even aware of it, but when you were using the guitar, a lot of times the guitar was on a backbeat. And so there was a drum kit happening within the realm of all the different, the music, the 2 or 3 musical instruments there were actually creating a drum kit. And it was really cool. I mean, that's an old trope from from bluegrass. Bluegrass does that without a drummer. They all get together and they have each instrument is carrying a different part of the drums as well as what they're doing. So
the mandolin is the snare and the bass is the
exactly. Everything's working on a slightly different beat, and it worked so well in your music.
Cool. And I will just, not to get technical, but there is technically there is a drum in our band.
On the banjo, right?
If they look at the banjo.
Well, yeah.
Here. Yeah. It's a technicality.
There it is.
But the thing is a drum kit needs the offbeat, and usually the offbeat, like in bluegrass, which doesn't have a drum, then the is the mandolin. That's the so that's why everything is always covered and always full, and you guys were doing that all the way across, and it just I really see. I not only like the movie.
But what about the music?
But I like the music, and I'm not usually a fan of movie music, Yeah,
man.
Yeah. So.
Speaking of the movie, how did that get made?
Yeah,
what was your budget?
Oh man, that's our favorite question. It was all in,
your cards.
It was mostly blood, sweat, and tears, but I think all in, we were able to scrape together about 150 grand to do it. And, that allowed us to, make real buckets and, rent out a bar to shoot in.
So those were real buckets.
But, we didn't have nothing, but it was, barely a shooting day on a normal movie. And, but yeah, we scraped that together and called in every favor. Like I said, shot in our house, shot in our friends' houses. We had cobbled together a bunch of goodwill from New York friends and fans of the band, and I think we were able to shoot 20 some odd days with that. A lot of people didn't get paid, but yeah.
And where were you shooting?
Testament to Jeremy as a producer who was able to make this happen. I mean,
you
were saying before about the fact that you guys actually did it. That wasn't Jay. We were just told what to do. That was John and Jared. They're the ones who did it, and then we got to go to the premiere.
There you go.
That part, hey. I definitely basically just showed up and acted like an ass, and that's all I really did.
What area were you guys filming in?
Almost exclusively in Brooklyn. I think there's a little bit that we did in Queens when General Trias first arrives at Costco, and we went out to a farm in Connecticut to do this kind of wood scene. But yeah, pretty much just in our neighborhood in Brooklyn.
The high line for that chase sequence was our only Manhattan time.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I drove by there today. I drove by the Artichoke Pizza up 11th, and I was looking up at the High Line and just how different it looks now. I mean, it just made me feel, I don't know, put things in perspective that there's now 7 new skyscrapers in the shot.
Yeah.
History of Future Folk that's completely barren.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
You got a lot of
a ghost of me with my laser rifle up there looking down at you.
I didn't say that. Yeah, there was a ghost.
I also want to ask, how many? When you guys did the scene with everybody wearing buckets when you open the door, right? And everybody has buckets on. Was that just, were there a lot of fans there that were wearing bucket hats?
It was a combination, yeah.
Or did you?
It was a little bit of both, So we had, friends and a lot of the initial fans were our group of friends. This kind of originated in sort of a homegrown way. So we were able to populate a lot of the featured extras with, the sort of diehards. They kind of each have a little shot in the movie, and that was sort of just a little inside moment for us. And then we kind of filled them out with non-union extras. but by the end they were all fans. I'll say that much.
Every extra is actually a non-union extra. we used to laugh about that back in my day. That before Screen Extras Guild got going, that was the height of idiocy to everybody. Was like, really, the extras are getting a guild together. You've got to be kidding me.
Unionizing.
You know, well, I remember one time I was doing special effects on a show, and the extras, they had gotten me a couple of those big storage units, the metal ones that go from place to place, right?
Yep, like a pod person.
Yeah, they're like that, and I'm working out of two of them, doing this just the effects on this little show for a friend of mine, and they parked the extras right next to me, so that when I opened my window, there were like three women that talk, and the extras, they sit there all day long, right?
Right.
I mean, all day long. And when I had to go to set, they had to go to set, right? So I come back out and work, and there was a discussion about shoes going on amongst four women. That I swear to God, that conversation followed me all day long, and then I would go to set, and then they would go to set, and for some reason, even when they were on set, and I'm not kidding, at about 3 in the afternoon, I walked around the trailer and I just fucking lost it. It's like, God damn it. I just have to ask, how the fuck can you talk for 8 fucking hours solid about your goddamn shoes? I mean, it is just enough to drive a man insane.
What was their answer? Well, how did they?
What's your Louis Vuitton?
Provide any insight into that?
They actually accused me of drinking. I brought up the obvious. I said, if I had been drinking, do you think I'd be thinking about your fucking shoes?
Listen, reference the previous episode of Rabbit Hole where Mick accidentally got microdosed last time he drank.
That was a Dead concert.
Accidentally, sure.
Hey, listen, you know what? It's the whole idea of being microdosed is so antithetical to everything that I stand for. If you're gonna fucking take acid, goddammit, the walls better be fucking moving. Just saying.
You might as well just go for it.
Yeah. Well, really, right? I mean, only the 2000s could come up with microdosing, right?
Yeah.
Come on,
Micro Center.
Yeah.
Microdosing.
Micro computers, fuck you. I mean, you know what? Listen, if I didn't see trailers, it just didn't count. That was called bad shit.
Yeah.
You see the trailer to that movie?
That was just a piece of notebook paper.
I was going to say, do you know during Woodstock, when that guy was up there going, whatever you do, don't eat the brown acid. You know what? Everybody out there was going, you guys got any of that brown acid? Because that's got to be the good shit, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, not don't take don't buy
Don't do drugs. I'm kidding.
Don't buy drugs, kiddies,
from people you don't know.
Yeah, get a recording contract. Studios will give them to you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. A little bit of a diversion there.
I'm sorry. Why do you think we called this Rabbit Hole?
Diving deep.
And that was the anti-drug PSA from Fat Jesus. Okay. So it was better when his hair was longer, I promise.
And now for
my hair is longer. You want me to undo my hair, goddammit?
Yeah.
So let's see. I think that we've covered that. I love all of you guys' shit. I love your albums. What are you doing now? And are you thinking of continuing and making another movie, or breaking this down into? And why have you not done an animated, Hondo? And all questions like that. How's the future look for you guys?
It's a good question. We have, well, first of all, let me sort of premise this by saying that everything that has happened to us has been a blessing, and it could be like lightning could strike me down right now, and I would say that was all a win.
That was good.
Yeah, no, it really
Good ride.
Fair enough, right?
We tried to develop a animated children's show for Future Folk that never made it, never got picked up. But we've done a lot of other kind of fun side projects. We have a coloring book. I'm still writing music. Jay and I haven't really played together in a while because he had a baby, and then there was COVID. So it's just sort of been like, it's been a while since we've been able to get together and play music like that.
Right.
The other thing I'll say is that Future Folk is like, every time you think Future Folk is dead, it rears its head again. So I'm loath to say, make any predictions. There's nothing sort of on the front burners for now. But every time I say that, then something comes up and there's another opportunity. Most recent thing we did was record an original song for a VR video game. And so sometimes things like that pop up, and we'll jump on that opportunity. But right now there's not like a giant roadmap for the future. But as I said in the beginning, there was never a roadmap for this thing, and that seemed to serve us pretty well so far.
Hey, you know what? Being lost is the best way to find something. I got to tell you.
It is worth noting that we have since started a production company called Hondo Entertainment, and we're about to start a first feature film, and we're up to a bunch of different stuff.
Hondo!
HondoEntertainment.com. Hondo! Selfless plug.
Yeah, selfless plug. Well, you know what? I invited a selfless plug. Is there any merch out there? Hondo merch?
Oh, there's
yeah.
Merch. How much merch do you want?
Yeah, we got all the
Your
merch.
mask.
We have masks. We have baby onesies. We have koozies. We have T-shirts. We have, as I mentioned, a coloring book.
Buckets? Buckets?
There's a how to make your own bucket instruction guide.
We need a COVID bucket that covers your nose.
Right.
No, we have
We do have masks.
Yeah,
we have branded Future Folk masks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend wearing them. No, I'm just kidding. You guys have been vaccinated, right? Oh, you love them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wait. Look, I live in Tennessee, which is it's really close. It's actually kind of part of Egypt because it's really close to denial. It's absolutely nobody here, and you know what? We're like a lot of times we're number one, and it doesn't affect anybody. They don't put masks on, they don't do anything. It's like I would love a mask.
Yeah, we'll send you a few.
There you go.
We'll send you a helmet too with a faceplate.
Yeah, so we've partnered with a clothing company called Flying Pork Apparel, like pigs, like Flying Pork, PORK.
Yeah.
And they have a whole line of Future Folk clothes. You can get sweatshirts and T-shirts and all that stuff. And it gets pretty granular. There's literally shirts about some of our back catalog songs that maybe 15 people have heard. So there's
some deep cuts in there.
Yeah,
Flying Pork is serious.
Well, I have to say this is that I'm setting all my grandkids down, and we're going to be singing. We're putting together a little group ourselves.
Yes,
doing little jazz. I have a granddaughter that's a jazz trumpet player. I have one that's a jazz singer, and I play bass for them, and we're gonna go. So we're gonna steal a couple of your songs. So just to let you
do
know.
it.
Well, listen, I'm happy to send you chords. I have most of our stuff. One of my favorite things about this whole project, about the movie and the exposure that it's given us, is seeing how other creative folks take this idea and run with it. And sometimes we get a lot of people doing covers of our songs, which just delights me to no end to see, a stranger singing a song that we wrote.
Oh, that's so great.
And I mentioned about the costumes, the creative energy that people bring to that stuff. A lot of fan art. There's just a lot of really interesting, cool, creative people out there, and it's so fun to see that energy applied to this idea, because it's like, it just feels like just the I don't know, it's just like a chain reaction that we never meant to start, and watching it play out with all these talented folks is delightful.
By the way, I don't want to get to the end of this without mentioning that I think that you're just a rockin' banjo player.
Yes, he is.
It's a really specific. It's a very specific. Your own style is actually there. It's very difficult to build a style, and you have a style that is so cool. It's so built on It's so built on melody, a certain recognizable thing, and I really like it. So
cool. I appreciate it. That's nice to hear. I didn't learn banjo through traditional means. I didn't learn it through sort of the bluegrass school.
No, yeah, that's really obvious. I mean, it's like there's a part of the movie where you sit and go through probably about 40 songs. Little segments of 40 songs, and I'm sitting there going, yeah, no blue. You didn't start on bluegrass. I just you started by sitting there and just picking stuff out, didn't you?
Yeah, I was interested in the instrument.
Right.
Sort of an anomaly. I was a guitar player.
Right.
And so I was like, what the hell is going on with this thing? It's tuned. It's just like nothing makes sense about it. I'm curious. I need to crack this.
See, because because I learned banjo, bluegrass banjo, like 40 years ago. And the thing is they teach you roll.
Yeah.
So everything that you do is based on how it operates within 4 notes, right? That's that roll stuff. And so that specific picking of a melody just never happens with bluegrass players. It's never just picking through a melody. And the fact that you did that in so many different ways, and I was like, wow, that's just a new way. That's a different way to play banjo. I liked it a lot. I really did.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
So, everybody, where can they find you on social media?
Yeah.
So we have a Spacebook page, which is I think Earthlings call it Facebook, and that's you can find us there. I think it's let me see if I think it's /future _folk. Let me just it's future facebook.com/futurefolkmusic. You can find us on Twitter, which in our handle is @future_folk. I was actually thinking about since the movie is back on Netflix now, I've actually been sort of flirting with the idea of doing an Instagram thing, but I don't know if that's just fighting a multi-front war. But that's where you can find us. Our website, futurefolk.com, and from there you can find all these other things I mentioned, including our merch.
Awesome.
It's great. Our director writers down there, anything else coming up from you? You've been strangely silent.
Yeah. No, I mean, John and I have been working together for a long time. We had made a couple of shorts, so this was a first feature for us. And we are close, hopefully this year, to getting to make another feature again. So I can't talk about it yet, but what happens after you make your movie is you expect Mr. Hollywood to call and say, "What's next, kid?" And still waiting by the phone for that one, but hopefully we can get something going. It's a fun horror movie later this year.
That's great.
Excellent.
Okay, guys. Like I say, the only reason you're on the show is that I just picked it out and said, "Oh God, you got to check these guys out." And so I say it one more time. God, you got to check these guys out. The future.
Watch the movie.
Yeah.
The history. What is it? The history of the world, or the history of future folk?
The
history of future folk. Go out. You'll enjoy it. You'll soon get sucked into the vortex of these people, and your life will be better for it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Hondo.
Okay, guys, so that was another episode of the Rabbit Hole Podcast. This is your host with the motherfucking most, TJ Bowser. Head on over to projectlouder.net, your source for pop culture and so much more. And of course, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/projectlouder. Go support the show and see my exclusive interview with Playmate Sandy Johnson. So until next time,